Well, let me give you a brief intro. I want to thank you all for coming to this conference on the forthcoming book, Law Strategies for a New Era Beyond the Physical Classroom. And I could think of no one better to start us off than Dean Marc Miller at the University of Arizona, James E. Rogers College of Law, because online teaching is much more than what we've been doing for the last year and a half with emergency remote teaching. It's a dedicated commitment to building good pedagogy, good technology, and good practices in creating excellent online courses. And Dean Miller has been incredibly supportive of online teaching way before COVID hit. In fact, he hired institutional designers, oversaw the building of a formal studio at the university, and the hiring of a great media team. So if there's one word that I use to describe Dean Miller, it's innovative, and he's certainly been innovative on online teaching. So Dean Miller, why don't you get us started?
Great. Tessa, thank you so much. And again, welcome to everyone. And it's an incredibly timely book and workshop. Let me divide my very brief comments into two short parts. So part one is to follow up a bit on Tessa's introduction, which is to say that we've committed not only to online, but to leveraging digital technologies in teaching well before COVID. And we did this in part to support dual degree programs globally, and in part to support flexibility in modalities locally, in part to enhance and diversify even the more traditional classroom experience, and in part because some of our degrees and certificates, the professional and exec ed, requires asynchronous engagement and flexibility in some of our programs, our online master's programs, the online part of our BA in law program, which is quite wonderful. Most of the students are out of the state of Arizona, and many of those in the state are not in the beautiful oasis of Tucson. And so we knew that to engage a wide range of people in a different setting with different kinds of content, the digital platform would be key. At this point, we'll have 450 students in our dual degree program in China this fall. They're taught live, but they're using materials designed to be flipped, and so they get exposed to a wide range of faculty. We have somewhere in the mid to high 400 number of students now taking our online non-law master's degree, and then several hundred people in some professional certificates around health and health privacy and aging and so forth. So it's a space existed in before COVID. So part two, and again, if there are questions later, people want to follow up. How is your faculty adjusted to this? Who teaches, et cetera? We can talk about all that. Tessa knows the programs very well. But the part two is COVID and post-COVID, which is, I think I often say, I know I'm not alone, that what we're experiencing is a world historical event, not unlike a world war or a massive economic collapse, and that the world we're coming back to does not look like the one we left and never will. And the puzzle here is that so many people here in our academic environment, certainly professors, staff, and students, want to return to something. They want to go home. They want to be back in the classroom. They want to be teaching and learning and supporting more traditional formats. And that will happen in somewhat different ways, but it's the echoes and the changes and the difference, even sitting in that room, like you can't go home again, that I see this book and this conversation pointing to. That conversation is incredibly difficult to have. I'm seeing it both with friends and family in practice, and then within our own hallways, an overwhelming desire to return at the university and the law school to what was, and yet already the beginnings of echoes. The students say, but of course you're going to record every class. Of course there'll be transcripts. Of course, if I can't be there for COVID-related reasons broadly understood, I'll be able to continue. And I know you can do it. I know you can do it well, right? And then on the faculty side, so much learning has come along about how to be more effective, whether it's with a synchronous or an asynchronous setting. And the demand for digital materials and engagement and the evolution of these technologies will continue. So I couldn't be more pleased to see the conversation going on. I always think workshops that are jointly hosted and broadly engaged are especially worthwhile. And again, the technology invites that. And I will look forward to both hearing what happens from the discussion and seeing the product that comes out. But I think it couldn't be more timely. And I think it will be hard for all of us to engage in this kind of thought, and your intentionality in doing so is quite wonderful. So thank you, Tessa, for inviting me this morning, and thank you all for being part of the workshop in the book.